last movie was really a personal story to your family. When writing this movie, how was the process? Did you want to remove yourself from anything personal? Where did the inspiration for this come from?
It was kind of, well, both the things that you just said were pretty accurate about how it came about. I mean, it is, in a way, personal to me. I mean, I've spent a lot of time around young people and a day job of teaching standardized tests. So I spent time at high schools and colleges. And also a few years ago, my much younger sister came out to me. And so I suppose that's kind of what got me thinking about a story like this. But then the other thing that you said was trying to remove myself from it, and that's what really, I think that's the thing that kept me interested in this story, in that, it's just so far removed from my own personal experience and the kind of points of view that I'm asked to consider every day. So that was, I think that was the biggest draw.
Does anybody have questions? And you can hold your hand high up so we can see you. Well, I'll keep up there.
Yeah, there was such amazing chemistry between you three actors, and I wonder if you could talk about that process of portraying that.
Sure. So when I first received the script, I loved the entire story, but Clifton actually made me really uncomfortable. He made me hella uncomfortable because it was so far removed from what I was going through in my life at the time. I wanted more authenticity, I wanted to not feel so, I guess, immature in a way. So I actually turned it down the first time. And Kerem was like, yo, I think we should meet, talk about the story. And we did. And he basically told me, like, yo, dude, if you're gonna be an actor, you need to be able to, like, step outside of yourself, and experience things that make you uncomfortable. Get out of your comfort zone, and it kind of just, like, I really absorbed that. And so, like, the scene with me and Dale, damn, even watching it now, this shit is intense. Honestly, that shit is lit. But that was the third day of shooting was that scene. So
Day 2 of shooting, and then day 3.
And then
2 days, split over 2 days.
We were just getting to know each other. So that was like, it was extremely uncomfortable, obviously, in a way. But at the same time, I don't know, we kind of like got into a flow, and we kind of settled in, and after a while, I don't know, I guess from Clifton's perspective, I wanted to come at it with a lot of innocence, And inside of me, I didn't want to judge Clifton. I wanted to allow him to just kind of like whatever he was feeling in that moment, He was coming from a loving perspective, so in a way, I guess, I just got absorbed into the moment, and I don't know, we got through it.
Great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
As far as chemistry goes, it was made very easy for me because they're both lovely people. I still would have, nailed it, but it would have been more work if I didn't like them. So that was really helpful to me. That scene particularly, I couldn't imagine doing with anybody else except for Mateo. And I've thanked him so many times, but I'll do it for the rest of my life, for making me feel so safe that day. Just gonna let Brianna talk.
So I got this script in when I was packing to go to Vancouver, and I stopped packing in the middle of packing because the script just blew me away. I fell in love with it, like the whole story. It's funny, I originally actually auditioned for Anne, but then, I auditioned for Sasha, and the more that I knew about Sasha, the more that I became to understand that she's the kind of person who lets everyone else's opinion affect her own opinion of herself, and I think that that's something that everybody alive can relate to. So the more I thought about it, the more excited I got about playing Sasha, and then, of course, Dylan's amazing, and beautiful, so it's easy to do.
Wow, you said it.
But yeah, no, the whole thing was great, and it was amazing that our chemistry was so great. I don't know, it was great from the get-go, though. I feel like, from rehearsal, we all got along, and yeah, it was a great experience.
Do you guys want to speak, the producers, about, do the producers want to speak about finding the cast and maybe the
Yeah,
process of how to get them to have this great chemistry?
I'm Ross. I produced the movie with Seth Kaplan and Dave Hunter right here. We didn't have a casting director because otherwise we wouldn't have a camera. So it was a team effort with all of us. Dave kind of started sending up a million auditions. We started just calling people that would take our calls and listen and say, hey, we think the script's pretty good. And thankfully, Kerem's a pretty good closer, so when we get him in a room with people, they say yes. But Dylan had auditioned for us on a movie that we made 2 years ago, and Dave had remembered her. And when we were bringing this up, Kerem told the story the other day, but I'll do it for him now. Dave was like, "What about this girl, Dylan Gelula? She was so cool." And Kerem was like, "Nah, whatever, okay, whatever." And then Kerem, a few days later, was like, "Oh, I just saw this show on Breakable with Kimmy Schmidt. There's this girl on it. She makes all these amazing faces. I'm so into her." And he's like, "Yeah, that's Dylan Gelula. I haven't told you about it." So yeah, Dylan was just perfect, and Brianna, when we saw her in the room with them, we just knew that we got them together, and we were like, let's see if this works, and it was so good. And Jonathan Taylor already said he turned us down, so we just kept trying. But it was just a long trial and error process, but we're so lucky to find you.
Well,
That's a good question.
That's a great question. I'll let you know when she sees it. She did, I'll tell you this though, she did read the script, which I've tried to kind of get her interested in what I'm doing for a long time, or send her other scripts, and she sort of had a half-ass interest. But this time she read it all the way to the end, so I think it's a positive sign. That structure, to a certain extent, did come together in the editing phase. So initially, the movie was told in a still out of order way, but the main difference was that you didn't really get to know Clifton until much later in the film, and that's the way that it was written. And then bringing it together and editing it initially and watching that first cut through, and watching it through with, we just showed it to a few people and a few friends. And what we came to realize was that the major issue with the movie was that because you got to know him so late, you couldn't really relate to what he was going through, his point of view. You saw the other people's points of view, but not his point of view. And so the editing process was, on the one hand, trying to figure out where to reposition those long scenes between the two of them. And that was on the one hand. And the other hand was just making sure that you just start off on the same footing with all the other characters as you do with Clifton. And then that just changed everything in terms of the way that you experience the movie. Now you kind of experience it through his point of view, I think, as well.
Would you share your thoughts on how you came up with the title?
Right, I find that titles it's either right when you have the idea, right when you're starting, or they just never happen. And luckily, initially I was just, I just had a placeholder, it was just a character's name. And then I thought First Girl I Love because it's, well, Kim's not here, so I can tell this. Kim Yutani is one of the senior programmers at Sundance, and she told me later, she was one of the first people here to watch the film, and right when she got the screener and said First Girl I Loved on it, she was like, ugh. And I was, right when she said, oh, I was like, yes, that's what I wanted you to think, that it's like about the first girl I love. All right, I get it. It's just kind of a tired phrase, but slapping on a different movie. Hey, that scene, just like all the other scenes, has gone through several evolutions. We got we actually shot that whole bedroom scene over 2 days, and so we have a ton of footage of that. And so it struck me while I was editing it that you really could, with just deleting one line, one word, you can completely change the effect of that scene and, how uneasy you feel or what, when you're considering all the sides of it. So yeah, it was I would say it really went through 2 big evolutions. Initially, like I was saying, that first cut, it was really all about Anne's perspective, and then bringing in Cliff earlier, recutting certain scenes. I tried to just kind of go around the room and just show what was happening as opposed to, kind of taking a side with the camera. I started writing it right after we finished shooting my previous movie, so that was maybe 2.5 years ago. This is the first time I started writing a script. Again, which is, I think, pretty fast, but then, I had all these other scripts I was thinking about, and then I started writing this one, and it just felt like the next move.
Can you repeat the question?
She was just saying, that films like this, there aren't a lot of them out there, and how does one continue to tell stories like this, right? And I'll just tell you, I don't know how people will keep telling stories like this, but this one, it's just, I just felt like I know that it is very far away from my personal experience, but there's just something so kind of primal about it that I did feel very close to the main character. And so I guess if you are considering a story like that or writing a story like that, there are not those kind of barriers about getting financing and actors that existed 15, 20 years ago, still to a certain extent, at least in my personal experience, still to a certain extent exists today, but it's way easier to make this kind of film today. So I would just say, don't let the subject matter make you think that it's, not universal or not commercial, even. Yeah.
What you do and what everyone did is you follow your heart and what you know is true inside, and they'll push you to make it happen.